Well, hi again. I would like to address this episode to young people or people who are at least young at heart. And this is a lesson I learned in my youth. Looking at a calendar recently, I discovered that, believe it or not, the 50th anniversary of my first date was coming up. Now, who remembers their first date? Well, I do because mine was a unique kind of disaster, not in a comical sort of way, just there was this girl that I'd had a crush on for all through sophomore and junior year of high school, and I finally worked up the nerve to ask her out. And I planned this evening that I thought would be really nice and special and memorable, and it was not at all successful. And I was tremendously disappointed. And it was really hard for me. It was very disorienting. I was a very lonely teenager, and I really thought things were going to change. Boy, I'm probably get a girl to go out with me. And they did change. They actually got worse. However, that's not the point of this story. The point of this story is that even after things that seem like the incredibly low points in your life, when everything that you really thought was going to work out doesn't work out, and then things just seem to go sideways or backwards or turn into a complete disaster. That even that sort of failure is not final. Even that sort of disaster isn't the end of the world, even though it can seem like it at the time. Now, the reason that's an important lesson is because if you fast forward from that first date of mine to when I had the stroke, all of a sudden my life changed again, and not for the better in very dramatic ways. But I could at least look back and say, even after that awful experience when I was 17 and my first date, and yes, I didn't have my first date till I was 17, and don't ask me how old I was, but when I had my second date, um, it 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 wasn't the end of the world. It was really a learning opportunity in retrospect. It didn't seem like it at the time. Sort of like my course of doing these videos. I really didn't think I'd ever do videos like this. I didn't think anybody would watch them. But the feedback I get, people seem to like them and learn from them. And I think it's important that we take advantage of opportunities as maybe ways to re-examine our lives, to improve our lives, to pick up the pieces from some catastrophe and build a new future for ourselves. I think the important message is that there is a future out there if we're willing to make it for ourselves. I could have decided after that disastrous first date, oh, I might as well admit it. I'm going to live alone forever, and die a cranky young man out of sheer heartbreak. And of course, none of that happened, although it seemed like a pretty likely outcome at the time. But anyway, um, we can move forward, and don't think that because something is the way it is when you're young, it's going to be that way forever. It's amazing how rapidly things can change and in a short amount of time. For me, the years of high school were just terrible. I mean, just awful. And I thought, well, if the rest of my life is like this, it's going to be pretty awful. you know, Once I got to college, things changed dramatically, and a lot of the things that in high school were holding me back or making me seem like an outcast or an outsider, all of a sudden they became advantageous in front of a different audience. So, you never know. You never know what's around the bend, and you have to keep your eyes open and keep a willingness to learn and to observe and to benefit from the disappointments in life. Because you know what? Hate to tell you this, you're going to have a lot of disappointments in life, and you can't let them get you down. They knock you down for a while and they hold you back and you feel bad. I mean, I hope I haven't given anyone the impression that having had a stroke in my case was a good thing. I've tried to make some good outcomes from it, but it's not been a good thing. It's been a lot of work to keep going, and but the important thing is to keep going. So, if you've got examples of how early disappointments in your life, maybe even later disappointments in your life, have led to successes later on, I'd love to hear about them. The important thing is to keep going, and I'll keep going with the next episode. So, thanks for watching. I'd love to hear from you with comments and emails, and we'll see you in the next video.